Hello and welcome back to Nolan Financial Radio. My name is Chris McKinney from Nolan Financial Partners. If you'd like more information about what you hear on our show today, give us a call at 719-210-4242 or visit us online at our website, nolanfinancialpartners.com. So, and while at our website, you can click on the radio page and check out our past show, subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Google has a podcast where I think we're on all the podcasts you can think of.
Yeah.
So go out there and whichever one you like to use, go look for Nolan Financial Radio and you could find it. So take a moment and go visit your favorite financial news website. Scroll through the page for a few seconds. I'm willing to bet you an iced coffee that there's at least one prominently placed article with a headline declaring that recession is on the horizon. Okay. So now headlines are impending recessions are enough to make even the calmest person reach out for a cold washcloth placed on their head. At the same time, while conditions appear ripe for a recession, that doesn't guarantee that one is coming. So if we're greeted by a recession in the coming months, there are things you may be able to do to help offer your financial strategy some degree of protection. So during our time today, we're going to chat about some of those things you can do, many of which are quite simple. Some of them are just do nothing, but what you can do to help yourself to weather this potential recession. Okay. But we delve into our topic. Before we get into our topic, let me introduce you to Tony Shore, who's even more valuable than a gallon of gas.
At this point, that's pretty valuable. I'll take it. I'll actually take that from you today, Chris. I'm going to take that as a compliment, I think. Right? I don't know.
That's right. You're very valuable to me, Tony.
Oh, Chris, thanks. Thanks. Well, Chris, it's still you and I here. Tara, meanwhile, your better half is gallivanting across the globe, right?
Yes, she is. She's she's in Europe, currently in Germany. She's been to a few other countries recently, and as
serving our country. I love it.
Yeah, she really enjoys being part of the high level dynamic that is protecting our country.
Yeah. She's she's an incredible person, and I just feel for you, Chris. You have to live in that shadow. No, you're doing the day-to-day. You're boots on the ground here with the financial advisory firm, Nolan Financial. And I know that you love meeting with people and talking to people about their finances. So first of all, I want to encourage both our viewers and our listeners. The show's available on your YouTube channel as a video and, of course, on the radio and podcast. So you're covering every medium that there is right now. I think. I don't think there's a medium that you've left unturned. So video and audio methods, radio and podcasts. So yeah, and I'm considering, with prices, inflation up, and we're basically in a recession. There's arguments, like you said, there's articles all over the place about it. I'm thinking of I told Tara this, I'm just going to buy a horse and ride it around also for the rest of the summer and fall, because oats have to be cheaper than gas, right? I mean,
yeah, not so much.
Probably not. Yeah, I know you guys have horses, so horses aren't cheap either, right? So
we have 3 horses, and Tara's annual gas bill on her car is less than feeding 1 horse for a year.
Yeah, so, I believe that. Yeah.
And that doesn't include the land, everything that we have to have to support them.
Yeah. So, and the time and effort you put into, you don't have to clean up your car's stall. You don't have to go out there and scoop the garage. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. So maybe I will stick with the car rather than a horse. But as for our topic today, obviously it's a timely one. Everybody's been bracing for a recession, and now they're arguing technically we're in one, but it's recession light, but we don't know where we're headed still. So I think this is important regardless people need to shore up their financial plans. And I said shore up, no pun intended. You get it, Kris? Come
I
on.
get it.
You
I
got to
get it.
laugh
That's
at
a good
that.
one.
Come on. My bad puns, at least a courtesy
Hey,
laugh.
hey,
Yeah.
Tony, you're stealing my thunder. I'm the financial advisor. You're the host.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm the co-host. You're the
Co-host.
host and financial advisor. That's right.
That's right. So today we're going to talk about an article I read on the 23 biggest ways to recession-proof your retirement. Don't know if we'll get to all of them today. That's a lot.
No,
It's
we
on
won't.
Go Banking Rates is the name of the company that put it out there. So you can find that online if you want to read it and see what the other things they talk about. And the first biggest piece of advice they give, and this first thing I tell everybody, is don't panic, right? So if people call in and say, hey, I'm worried about my stuff being down, I'm like, that's okay. We have a plan for that. It'll be all right. The market
Right.
goes down. And so if we can, the most recent downturn we had that really sent people to panic was the pandemic crash in the March of 2020. And so a lot of people jumped ship like right in the middle of March
Yeah.
and pulled out of the market. So they were selling low, and then sure enough, just a few months later, market came right back. I mean, hard came back. We had a good year in 2020. And if they had
2021, was better. Yeah.
Yeah, 2021 was even better. So if people were pulling back into the safer assets at that time, then they lost out on a huge growth opportunity.
Right.
So there were days in the market that saw, a 13% drop in the Dow. So that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, one day drop of 13%. That's tough. That can be tough to handle. And, if you're not working with a financial advisor, you're going to make emotional decisions. And that's where you come in, Kris, because you and Tara help people because you don't have the same emotional attachment as they do. You look at it from an analytical standpoint and a standpoint from your experience as a financial professional.
That's right, Tony, because we have to plan to make your money take care of you for your whole life. It's not about tomorrow having
Right.
and it's not about having the biggest nut. It's about having the nut that takes care of you and
Right.
takes care of your dreams and what you want to do. And so that's what we help people plan for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's huge. And obviously, considering all the thought and time and effort that people put into crafting a financial strategy and a retirement income strategy, the smart move is to stick with it. Or if times get tough, have the financial advisor that you meet with and look at everything, get a second opinion on where you're at, right?
That's right. So seeking out a professional that can help you make those decisions, like right now, I agree with the article. Right now, the market's down. So if you're still working and you still have that 401k you can put money into from your income, do it. Keep putting that money in.
Yeah.
Don't stop adding when the market's at a discount. You can really make your retirement boost up if you're buying in a down market. That's the best place to be. It'll cycle back at some point. Go ahead and keep putting that money in if you're in that situation.
Yeah. Well, and like you've said before, Kris, history has proven that sooner or later the market always gets back on its feet.
That's right. And if you look at the 2008, 2009 downturn, it took a while, but by 2013, everything had come back up.
Yeah.
Some people had made it back by 2011 with their assets, depending on where they were. But everybody was back pretty much whole after that huge crash of 2008.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of the ways you can help keep yourself in a good place is to diversify, right? So you can have things that aren't related to the market that guarantee some performance, but don't have that crash kind of things. So it could be some bond funds, some things like that, cash inside things like a life insurance policy is a potentially good way to keep some financial strategy there, maybe a money market fund, maybe some laddered bonds, some things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And people are always looking. The trick is to find something that's going to still have gains, but not as much downside. So you want to have, you still want to stay the course with your, in a lot of your invested money, but not necessarily all of it. And we've talked before about all the different factors. And, you've sold me on the importance of diversification. That's for sure. I mean, Tara's used a hammer to pound it into my head. Diversify, diversify, right?
That's
Right?
that's right. And diversification doesn't mean having different mutual funds in the market. That's still the same
Yeah.
asset, right? And so,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some people say I'm diversified. I own both Apple and IBM, or I own both Apple and Google. It's like,
right.
nope, no, that's
That's
still all in the stock market. We're talking about
oh,
the different buckets, the risk
that
bucket versus the principal protected bucket. Versus the tax-free bucket and the taxable bucket.
yep.
I like the bucket approach, and you guys have talked about that. And so, what's I mean, obviously, it's important. If people have questions about true diversification, they should definitely give you a call and make sure they're working with a financial services professional.
That's right. And they can reach us at 719-210-4242. Give us a call there. Check out our website at nolanfinancialpartners.com. And we can really talk to you about the diversification, how to include maybe some real assets in your portfolio. Just really making things in your retirement recession proof, because people that are deeper into their retirement and they see that nest egg crash by 20% like the market's done this year, really puts a damper maybe on their plans. Maybe they had
Sure,
to cancel vacation plans and change things. So
sure,
what we can do is help set up things so that if you do have those plans, you have backups, you have diversification in your portfolios, diversification throughout all your assets, so that you can still live the lifestyle of your dreams.
sure. And you mentioned quote unquote real assets. What do you mean by that? There are a lot of different asset classes out there, aren't there?
Yeah, there are, like natural resources, things
Sure.
that hold their value, have intrinsic value, equipment, land, uh, precious metals. We use a lot of gold funds, things like that, real estate, and some other commodities. Commodities don't take a hit during these times, right? They've probably gone up a little bit because a lot of them are they're limited. Commodities can be
Yeah.
limited, so they don't have the recession. They don't go down with recession like the other equities.
Yeah. Yeah. True. And I think I hope some these tips will calm some people's nerves and really encourage them. I hope this will motivate people to get a plan in place, get a second opinion on where they're at based on the recession we're in out there. So obviously the today's show is about helping people protect their retirement and their financial strategies against recession. And it's been in the news. This is informative. What do you have next for us? What's another tip you've got for us?
So the next tip that we saw in the 23 biggest ways to recession-proof retirement is reallocating your portfolio in a more conservative direction as you age. So we
Ah,
talk about this a lot about
time horizon.
time horizon, and the rule of 100 is something you can find on the internet. And it says that if I'm 60 years old, I should have 60% of my assets in not equities, not high risk things. They should be in conservative investments, away from stocks. And so that's the rule of 100. Now everybody's got their own feeling about their timeline and how much money they want to grow, how they want it to grow. So we help customize that rule for you,
Sure.
um, so that we have what we call a safe money account that is always there when you want it. And then we have a red money account or a growth money account. Now that growth money account has higher risk, but it's going to grow for you. So when
Sure.
things are good, it's growing great. So you that's what you use. When you have a recession like this, oh, let's go look at our safe money account, and we'll use the money
Yeah.
out of the safe money account during these recessions, and not use our capital out of our equities and things that are down. We don't
Right.
sell at a discount.
Right. Well, exactly. And you make a great point there. Obviously, you still want growth. I mean, even as your time horizon increases, you always have something in growth. I mean, unless you're at 100 years old,
Yeah,
if you're 99 or 100, it might not be as important to have money in growth. But up until that point, you've got at least something in growth. So that's the way the rule of 100 works. Even if you're in your 60s, you still got 40% in growth. It's just you also need money that you don't want to be in retirement and be in your 70s and
that's right.
have all your money in the stock market. And when a year like 2022 this year hits and we're in a recession, you pull money out of that account when it's at the bottom, when it's 20% down. You want to be able to pull money from somewhere else at that point. You don't want to take money out of the stock market, like you
Right.
said. And in other words, don't sell don't sell low and buy high, which is, I read an article, I forget the percentage, it's crazy. Like 70% of all investors or more end up selling low and buying high, the opposite of what they should do, right?
Opposite of what they should do,
Yeah.
because they get into the emotional part of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so we stay away from that by using what you mentioned before, buckets, right? And so the
Sure.
article talked about having a now bucket, a soon bucket, and a later bucket, so
Ah,
that you have control of your finances. So I kind of like that approach for people to think about it is, this is the money we spend now. This is the money we'll spend soon. This is the money we spend later. And then you keep moving those growth funds into safe funds, because the safe money is your now bucket, right? So the soon bucket is a different kind of bucket, and we're not going to go into that one. But
sure.
you need money now, and you need money growth later.
Right.
That's what you
Right.
need. Those are the two
Yeah.
main buckets you got to plan
Yeah,
for.
and I really appreciate that. You've sold me on the bucket approach, and you've talked a lot about that in previous shows, or indicated. I mean, you want a bucket where, where it's cash and liquid. That's your emergency fund or whatever. 6 months of salary you need directly accessible, and then there's the medium bucket, that is lower risk but still has some gains, and then there's the high risk bucket of red money where it's always at risk, and that's your growth bucket. So yeah, I like the way you break it down, Kris, and you've convinced me of that. That's really, really important.
Yes. And so that goes to the next part of the article that talks about accumulation plan. And a lot of times we get caught up in accumulating those big numbers.
Sure.
I've got one client. His goal and his deal is he manages his own money. We're okay with that, but we've helped set up some safe money accounts. He works on the
That's
growth
good.
money. We
Yeah.
work with the growth. He works on the growth money. We work on the safe money.
Sure.
Um, but he's a little caught up in accumulating that number. He's got a number in his head that he wants to reach with his growth money, and so he focuses on that. He spends every day. He's retired, 100% retired now, but so he has time to do that. Um, but he's really caught up in accumulation. At some point, you've got to turn that accumulation into income, right? You
Yeah.
can't keep kicking the can down the road.
Well, number
Um,
one, you can't take it with you. I get
no,
it if he has a specific, he has 10 grandkids and he wants to leave them a certain amount. But I think people get caught up in that number. And when you said, this is an interesting story, Kris, because when you
yeah,
said he's retired, I'm like, oh, Wait, and now I get that if you're 30 and you have this number you're trying to reach, that's one thing. But if you're already retired and you're still like growth, 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 I got to hit this number. No, he should be, if he's still healthy, he should be spending money.
He should be
And
spending.
yes, yes. And I know as a financial advisor, that sounds counterintuitive, but you and both you and Tara have mentioned this before. You can't take it with you.
Mm-mm.
And the whole reason you've saved your whole life and put into retirement funds is to live, right?
That's
And
right.
so, yeah, you got to live as well. And I think during your go-go years in retirement that's what that money is for. And obviously, you want to have things like life insurance policies and things that can leave money to your children, or you don't want to leave your spouse and your children in a bad situation.
No.
These people who say on the other end, right? I want my last check to bounce. So there's two ways of thinking, right? I want to spend every dime I've got. And then the other's like, I don't want to spend any because I'm trying to hit this goal. Well, if you're in retirement still trying to hit a goal, that scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it is a little frightening. We talk to him all the time about moving more money. How about we put some more money over here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that when he's in these kind of recession time periods, he's not having to limit his life, right?
Right.
And so he can still do the things he wants to do.
Yeah, because if you have all your money in that high growth because you're trying to hit a number and you're pulling it out during this 2022, you're going to deplete that resource very quickly.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're because you're depleting your capital, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want to deplete capital out of the growth accounts. We want to deplete. We want to use the money in a wise way.
Right. And the key is to have a plan. So really quick, let's give the phone number and contact information again, Kris, because I know you and Tara are offering a complimentary, no cost, no obligation consultation for our listeners out there to get a plan started, to see if it makes sense to work together to have a plan in place.
That's right, Tony. So if you're interested in putting a recession plan together, give us a call at 719-210-4242. You can reach us through our website, through the little email thing. If you want to do it that way and you don't want to call, that's okay. But give us a call and we can sit down. We can give you that complimentary consultation to our callers this weekend. So call now and we'll get you in to talk to you on a complimentary way so that you feel free to get some advice without having to spend money for it. And then we'll talk about at that meeting, we'll talk about how we get paid and how you can have a successful recession-proof retirement.
Yeah, and for those radio listeners or podcast listeners that can't see the number or web address, it's nolanfinancialpartners.com. If you're driving and can't write down that phone number, just remember nolanfinancialpartners.com, and they can contact you through the website.
That's right, Tony. Thank you so
Yep.
much for providing that.
No problem. So, what's another tip you have for people to help recession-proof their finances and their retirement?
Well, another asset that the article talks about that we've talked about in the past is deferred annuities. So a deferred annuity is a good place to put money that it manages the taxes because you don't have to pay taxes on the money until you pull the money out. And then you get some, you get guarantees about what happens with the money. So
Sure.
the way we sell annuities is when we're having a recession like right now, they don't go down. Annuities don't lose value. Okay. The ones we use don't lose value. So that floor of zero, when we're having a year where we're 20% down, you're 20% ahead of the market. How would you like to feel 20% ahead of the market with one of your assets?
Yeah.
So there's potential
Plus,
negatives.
you still get gains, but
That's right.
you don't go down. You like a fixed index annuity you're talking about where you get to participate in some of the market gains, but you don't have to participate in the losses. And
That's
that's
right.
huge. That's huge. right?
And you can include some guaranteed up in it. You can manage that annuity the way that fits your life in the best way.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's what we want for our clients, is to have some tools that are outside of maybe what they've thought about in the past that help their financial outlook, and so that they can manage all those things.
Sure. Yeah, and it's good to know there are various tools. I mean, obviously, you're not going to advise people put all their money into the safe money options like fixed index annuities, or all their money into the stock market, or all their money into bonds. You have to have a balance of all of these things, right?
That's right, and that's one of the important things about looking at the future is we don't know what inflation is going to do to our money. We don't
Right.
know what the various other factors that go into uh, making our retirement less. Right? There's obsolescence of things we have that we have to replace. There's maintenance on our home. There's all these things that pull out our nest egg in retirement that we have to account for when we start making those plans.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, you know what? Our time today just flew by. We're almost out of time. Can you believe it, Kris? This
Oh,
is
wow.
amazing. Yeah. So you have a lot more tips I know you could share with folks on how to recession proof their retirement. I know continue working is one. You were going to talk about that, but we're out of time today. So just let our listeners know once again how they can get a hold of you. And I know you're offering a consultation, that initial consultation, whether it's over the phone or in person. You'll talk to people, get some personal information, and see where they're at. And if they need your help, if they want to continue from there and become clients, and have you and Tara really help them with their investments and their finances and getting that retirement income in place. How can they do that?
They can reach us at 719-210-4242. They can reach us at our website, nolanfinancialpartners.com. If they want a complimentary consultation, please call 719-210-4242.
All right, that sounds great. And that does it for today's episode. We're out of time for today's episode of Nolan Financial Radio with our host today, Kris McKinney. Kris, hope to see you again soon. And one day, maybe Tara will be back from her
Maybe.
her
She's trying to
cross. Her,
decide how much she likes it over there. She's figuring out more ways to get back.
All right, we'll talk to you next time.
Join us for another episode next week at Nolan Financial Radio.